Hello, Matthew Williams here, bringing you a quick update on the John Searle video. Somebody went on my YouTube page and said that Searle is not using the method that I used, showing you the magnets, in his work, that he's using superconductivity. Now, I know there are claims that Searle himself says that his device becomes superconductive, but I don't think there's any proof whatsoever in the public domain from Searle or from any other bodies to say that they've tested this. So there are claims that there's anti-gravity. That hasn't been tested. There's claims that there's superconductivity. That hasn't been tested. There's claims that there's a reduction in temperature. That hasn't been tested. And also, what was the last one? I'm forgetting what they were now. Anyway, none of these things have been tested. So basically, I went on to look at the claim that Searle was in the RAF, and it was stated in the video, the John Searle story, or the Searle story. It was claimed that Searle joined the RAF. Now, he was enlisted. Now, it's a little bit, misleading to imply that Searle joined the RAF, because that would imply that Searle himself made the decision to go into the RAF, when in fact it would have been more likely to be part of national service. So, elevating one's role in this way by saying, Searle joined the RAF, he was there for a period of 2 years, and then he left. And it wasn't explained why he left in the video. It just says that Searle enlisted, joined the RAF, and was there for 2 years, and then came back into civilian life. Now, that, to me, didn't ring true of somebody that was a real RAF officer, or sort of a commissioned officer or anything like that. So it's more likely that Searle was there in a non-commissioned officer position, probably national service. If that's the case, then Searle's information won't be on the Air Force roll, because he wasn't there as an enlisted person. He didn't join. So the 2 years corresponds, if John Searle was born in 1932, entered 1950, that would have made him age 18, and left 2 years later. That's perfect for national service. So I think what we're dealing with here is somebody who did his national service and now decides that he wants to go wearing RAF uniform. And I've already had a conversation with somebody who will remain nameless at this point. We've exchanged emails, and he says that he finds it okay that John should wear his RAF uniform, even though he was just basically a national service person. My dad was in national service. He did his in Singapore, and because of his, being quite a good sort of school student, he ended up teaching people when he was in his national service. He became a teacher. So he was teaching people chemistry, maths, and I think it was foreign language stuff. So, but you don't see my dad going around in his military uniform. I don't think he even has it. I think it got thrown away when he left. Bottom line is, there ain't many people who did their national service who then go around wearing their uniform. It's a bit weird. Anyway, I digress. It's also been suggested to me that Searle information, that I should look it up, because I am not doing my research, I have been told. I am not doing research, and I'm expecting other people to provide me with answers. Now, I would like you to tell me whether you think this is reasonable or not. Somebody that I am in contact with, who is being very close to the Searle story, has indeed got videos out there with him speaking to Searle. I'm not going to be a bit. I'm not going to be more specific at this point because it will point a finger at who I'm on about. Now, let's just put it like this: this person apparently has a title of doctor, professor, something like that. Yeah. Now, I questioned the validity of using this title, and based on my previous experiences, which you're all probably aware of. I'm just going to turn this microphone away. Based on the experiences I've had with people like Professor Glickman, who's not a really professor, and also Dr. William Levengood, who says he got an honorary doctorate, and when it was tracked back, he didn't have an honorary doctorate. These types of people lead me to immediately question when somebody says they're a doctor. It's just a natural reaction for me. What I wanted to know from YouTube viewers, maybe you can tell me whether or not it's fair, I have asked this person who is using his doctor title in relation to promoting ideas from John Searle. He's using the doctor title. I said, was the doctor title in electronics or something like physics? I got the reaction it wasn't. It was a medical thing. And I said, could I see some proof? Now, since then, the communications went from being very large to being very small. And when I said, you haven't replied to me about the doctor thing, the emails have cut off altogether now. Now, I would just like to check with YouTube viewers, do you think it's fair for me to pursue this? Do you think it's fair for me to ask the question, if you claim you are a doctor, can I see the proof? Do you think that's fair or not in this case? I'd just like some feedback on that, because I've pushed the question with the person and said, if they don't wish to supply such information, then it certainly looks suspect, as in my opinion, anyone who's a real doctor or a professor would be more than happy to supply you with information of where they got their qualifications, so that that can be checked. And anybody who's a doctor or a professor, or claims to be a doctor or a professor, who doesn't wish to give that information, that's very peculiar. That's my opinion. Now, I'd like to hear your opinion. Do you think I should pursue that? I just wonder whether I'm being a bit unfair on this one. Then I was accused of not doing my research by this same person, and they said, if you do your research, you will find out the truth, and then you will change your mind. So I've typed into Wiki. Now, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner, but anyway, John Searle on Wiki. I'm going to read this out to you, because there's a good chance this could get deleted. So it says, John Roy Robert Searle, born May the 2nd, 1932 in Wantage, Oxfordshire, a British inventor claiming between 1946 and 1956 he designed and constructed an open system type electrical generator known as the Searle effect generator, SEG, variously described as an ambient energy converting device. Basically, the device is a stepper motor. Now, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, I've said this in my video. I didn't even read this. I've said this is a motor. It's not a bloody generator, and just because you put some pickup coils on the edge and get some, lights to light, they're just picking up the magnetic field passing the coil and turning it into a small amount of current and voltage. It's not necessarily a generator, it's a motor. It says, after passing part of his childhood in various homes and having finished school, he began an apprenticeship with the British Electrical Repairs Company. Tasks included stripping, rewinding and repairing of electric motors. In the course of his education, he was first confronted with the manufacturing of magnets and the basics of electrical engineering. As noted above, Searle claims he was employed as an apprentice engineer of that company at Gray's Inn Road, London. He further claims that, whilst he gained access to the company's facilities and technical resources needed to make the device, furthermore, that in 1946, with all of the magnetic components manufactured to his specifications, he assembled it in his residential home, 30 Crawley Road, Haringey, London, UK. Searle makes the further claim, once assembled, it started rotating by itself, increasing speed gradually. It finally left the ground and crashed into the ceiling. While Searle was wondering how this could happen, the SEG drilled itself through the ceiling, then the roof, and then disappeared. The same happened to the following 5 other sources quote 9 models. Later on, he succeeded in controlling this phenomena and in building a flying machine based on this quote anti-gravity effect, which he named Inverse G Vehicle, IGV. To date, Searle has produced no evidence whatsoever of any of his claims, and mainstream science maintain that all his claims are in fact completely impossible. Searle was convicted of stealing electricity. Now, in the video, you see, they say that Searle was not convicted. They say because Searle says that he was actually the winner of that case. Yes, but obviously Wiki has got something to say about this. So Searle was convicted of stealing electricity by bypassing his electricity meter and damaging the property of the electricity company. He then engaged in a vendetta against the electricity company. And that's... that is from The Times. The source of that is from Engineer Jailed for Vendetta, The Times, 1983-0105. And then it says, where's number 4 is referenced? 4. I'd like to see that, what that is. Oh, yes. And damaging the property of the electricity company, number 4. Reference for that is, electricity thief risked blackout of the South, it says in The Times, which is 1982, 11-26. So these are newspaper articles about Searle and his being taken to court. Anyway, it says, Searle claims the electric company confiscated his home SEG, which incited him to threaten the electric company. According to Searle's own account, a colleague of Searle, Dr. George White, was aware of the home SEG. Searle claims that White saw the device working when he showed up against instructions. Anyway, that's claimed in Professor Searle's book, The Law of the Squares, which I'm going to come to. That's interesting. It says, in 1991, Anders Herford investigated the claims of Searle concerning the devices that Searle claims to have shown, as well as verifying claimed witness reports. None of these claims could be verified. Furthermore, Gunnar Sandberg has never seen any of the effects described. Sandberg, as reported through Herford, founder son of Searle, quote, who has seen discs being suspended from wires so they could be photographed, but who hadn't seen any demonstration of anti-gravity or free energy. Now that's a quote from the son of Searle. Now I was looking into trying to see whether we could track down one of these sons or daughters of Searle, right? And lo and behold, Wiki says that his son says this. Now, this is from the Herford investigation, Part 1, Part 2, and Searle's reply to Herford. And I'm going to read these, and I'm going to reply to you on these separately. But now, if we go to the discussion page for Wiki, we see that this has all been classified by Wikipedia as part of the Paranormal Project, which means that it's not a serious scientific paper on Wiki. It's actually been downgraded. Now, I wouldn't take that as absolutely read, because Wiki is known for very bad information. And this might be bad information against Searle, and it could be bad information for Searle. Okay, the one thing about Wiki is it's a bloody awful place to get reliable information, because it's constantly flipping and changing, where people come on and fuck around with the information. Anyway, they're actually saying that they think because no credible sources can be supplied in this case, that it should be deleted. And that's from 2006, so it hasn't happened yet, but it could happen. So I thought it was just important to make that information available, just in case somebody decides to. Right, there's reasons for his time in prison. Okay, interesting. Searle going to prison. Was that in the video? Searle went to prison? Perhaps because of this clip and constant sniping by one particular critic, the main Searle site has closed permanently, and the others look dead in the water. Someone has recently uploaded a YouTube clip showing newspaper cuttings of the trial reports. Now, I'd like to see that. Since some people may invest in his technology, they have a right to know why he spent time in prison. Can anyone add an article to clarify this? So somebody was asking for this in September of 2007. And it says, the reply is, I don't see any documents relating to that incident, but it did have to do with the electric company taking notice that Searle's home was electrically powered, yet they could not register any usage. It is understandable from the electricity company's perspective. It could mean only one thing. He must be stealing electricity. So they took legal action to search the premise. They arrested John and conducted an aggressive search for the source, even digging up the grounds without finding the source. They eventually resorted to tracing the source by ripping out the wiring from the walls, which lead to John's home SEG hidden within the walls. He learned that his generator was gone. The home was wrecked, and it was to prove to be too much already for his stressed relation with his wife. She then left him. They even ignored his request to return the device, so it's understandable why John was so outraged and angered as to make threats against the company. So yes, he spent time in jail for it. So John Searle spent time in jail, so he was basically found guilty then, I would assume. More or so for his own safety, because the judge recognized that John was very disturbed about the incident. The judge put him in jail because he thought he was disturbed about the incident. Searle and the Searle Story video says that John won the case, and the judge said that he was a much cleverer man than the man from the electricity board, so he won the case. So, this is like, whoop, flip it right on its head. I can't believe I'm reading this. This is unbelievable stuff. So, Searle's professorship. Here we are. See, I wish I'd read this. Professor. Searle's website claims he is a professor, but his CV does not show any employment as an academic. Does anybody have any sources giving background on this? The title of professor was not given to him by any reputable university. That much is sure. Okay, but that was given by somebody anonymously. After giving a lecture at the University of Munich, March the 12th, 1989, the university officials were so impressed with John's knowledge of mathematical process, named, quote, the law of the squares, they presented him with an honorary professorship with the title of Professor of Mathematical Structures of Creation and Energy. I do in fact have a VHS tape of that lecture. That much is for sure, as other people have public copies of it as well. There is no formal, somebody else goes on to say, there is no formal qualification needed to call oneself a professor. So Searle has as much right to use this honorific as anyone else. Of course, to do so when not employed by a university as a professor is at best a sign of enormous self-regard, and at worst a barefaced attempt to mislead others. Usually an honorary professorship is evidenced by more than a VHS tape, but in any event it is usually the convention that holders of honorary doctorates and professorships do not use the title. So there you go. Not only does he use the title, he dresses up in professor garb. And does it sound reasonable to you? Does it sound reasonable to anybody that after giving one lecture at a university that they're going to give you an honorary professorship? I don't think so. I think that's fucking bullshit. I think that's fucking bullshit. I'm going to look out for this video. I want to see this video of his wonderful lecture that earned him his honorary professorship. I think I should get my arse over to this university and get a fucking honorary professorship of being a bloody crop circle maker, if they're that easily impressed. But let's see if I can find it, and I'll put the links in the YouTube video. So that's what I found out so far, and it ain't looking good. So yes, I am doing my research on Searle, and it all seems to be slowly unravelling itself. So we shall let you know more as we get it.